developments in the country. And right now, we would like to find out more or less, you know how it is when we have the nominees for presidential elections for the Republicans and the Democrats. People somehow try to think of who would probably be the VPs, the vice presidential candidates. For Mr. Trump, who would be an ideal candidate and why?
If you're speaking on behalf of who I would want for Trump, of course, I would like for him to actually choose a Latina woman, and because of the issues of the wall that's been concerned. So this is more of a little bit more of a sensitivity issue on that end, and because there was some women that, of course, that felt they were a victim to the things that he was saying and so forth, that would be something that should be noted. I believe that the governor from New Mexico, I think her name is Susana. Is it Martinez? Is that her last name? She's the third Hispanic or Mexican descent that's actually the third governor. That's a woman. That's a woman, and also, so I think that she would probably bring a little bit more of a political perspective to Trump's team, and also having to engage in having women vote and Latino votes and other community votes, people of color, that would help to create a balance with Trump on that.
And if you were to give your opinion with regards to the states or the places where Mr. Trump has to go more often and to convince more voters, which places would these be?
There's going to be places that no matter where he goes, they're not going to support him because it's a liberal view. You know what I mean? A liberal or conservative view. So no matter what he does, he needs to engage in independent communities where there's more of a different positive outlook, where they see things in a different light, where they can go either or. So that way he has a sure chance. New voters coming in, being registered to vote. That's another perspective that he could lean towards, and him waking up the community with his political correctness. I mean, I see a lot of people that probably are registered voters that are deciding to vote because he's coming out of the ticket, talking about all the things that he wants done.
Well, of course, still California is coming up very soon. And he's the only candidate now, presumptive nominee. But did you feel that he was going to have a landslide victory even before this happened, before the dropping out of Ted Cruz and, of course, Mr. Kasich recently?
In my perspective, I mean, I was just studying the things that was happening with Trump, but I noticed that Trump is a businessman, obviously, and he's good at what he does as a businessman, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's getting some advisors out there, and he's probably paying money for those advisors to go out there and get his political perspective on the role. And I think that that's helping him a lot because of the fact that he has that business sense that other candidates may not have, that makes him push for that drive to get to the top. And basically because he's raw and he doesn't have that political background where he needs to say a certain word or meet a certain people and so forth. He's able to engage in a different ways that people that are not politically inclined, he can maybe outreach to them in a different way.
Now, Marissa, How do you see the unification of the Republican Party? Would you think this will be an easy task or a difficult hurdle, since there has been a lot of hurt and there's got to be a lot of healing to be done in the community, and some Republican, well, registered voters seem not to be in favor of the presumptive nominee?
Yeah, but I believe that in the end result, I mean, when it's a partisan type leadership, whether it's a GOP, whether it's a Democrat, and so forth, the majority of them, regardless of how they feel in the world, especially here in the U.S., I think that they're going to go ahead and support their candidate on that end. But of course, it's like anything in life when you're a candidate. I mean, I've seen candidates that were two different partisan leadership, but they were going for a nonpartisan race. But 10 years later, or 5 years later, or 2 years later, they work together, and they are now they work as a team. So right now, yes, it's kind of like raw, because of course they all chose their candidate of choice. But I think in the end result, honestly, I think that they were all going to go ahead and choose their mission of what needs to be done, and I believe Trump has his advisors ready in place, and I'm sure that there's going to be some different thought lines that he's going to probably consider, because once he does become into that position, he is a businessman, and even though he may say the things that he's saying at this moment, and so forth, I'm sure that he's going to direct the community what needs to be done on what he's trying to direct on his end.
That's very interesting.